It's hard to believe that winter will be here before we know it, but this is a great time to start gathering your supplies to be ready for winter sowing. If you're not familiar with winter sowing, it is the process of sowing your seeds in plastic containers and then putting them outside in the winter. Then when the weather warms up in the spring, your seeds will naturally germinate. I have a video on this full process and I'll link it down below. I have been using the winter sowing process for the last 4 years and it has worked out great for me. So I wanted to get you prepared for this coming winter sowing, whether you're a first timer or you've been doing this for a long time. So here's a list of 10 things I think are useful to have on hand for your winter sowing. The first item, and one of the most important items, is plastic containers. This is the time to start asking your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers if they have plastic containers for your winter sowing and to save them for you. You can also try speaking with local coffee shops for their milk jugs or a dentist's office for their distilled water jugs. There are many places where you can try and collect some of these containers. Some of the things that you're looking for when choosing the right container for winter sowing is that they are either clear or opaque. You want to be sure that the light can filter through the container to warm and germinate your seedlings. You also want to make sure that your container has a capacity of holding at least 3 to 4 inches of soil, and then you also want enough room for your seedling to grow. So another maybe 4 to 6 inches depending on how long that seedling might be in the container. So some great choices for winter sowing containers are plastic soda bottles or juice bottles, plastic milk or water jugs, disposable food storage containers, rotisserie chicken containers with a clear lid dome, and plastic ice cream buckets. I have seen others use many different types of containers, and really it's up to you. Gardening is all about trial and error, and so give something a try and see how it goes. If it's successful for you, then maybe you want to continue using that. But those are usually the types of containers that most winter sowers use. Your next important item is potting soil. Potting soil can sometimes be very difficult to find in the winter. So now is a great time to stock up on that potting soil. For winter sowing, it is best to use potting soil. It is not a great idea to use seed mix soil because that does not have nutrients. So when your seeds germinate, they will need some nutrients, and those nutrients won't be available for your seedlings in seed starting soil. Also, the seed starting soil can dry out a lot quicker than the potting soil. The other key thing is you want to make sure that your potting soil does not have a moisture retention unless you live in a dry climate, which might be helpful for you. But if you're in a climate where it rains a lot and you get a lot of snow, it may not be good to have water that is being retained in your potting soil because that might rot out your seeds. You also should not use topsoil or garden soil, as those will also hold on to a lot of water and they're too heavy for seedlings to grow in. Next item you're going to need is duct tape or packing tape. You need something to close up your containers once you filled them. There are some duct tapes that just don't stick well. One of them, from my experience, is that Duck brand. It just doesn't stick for me. So I am going to try something different. If you are sowing more than 25 containers, you may want to consider having 2 rolls of duct tape on hand. So yeah, the more you have, the more tape you might want to try to make sure you have on hand. Next is permanent markers or paint markers. You will want some markers that are UV and water resistant. I have used a garden marker every year and that has worked very well for me. I know some people may use Sharpie and it works for them, but some others have not had good results with that. So, you can use whatever you'd like, but know that there are times when things could end up fading away and you may not know what's in your container. Next is plant tags. You will want to label what is in your container. So you want to put a tag on the inside of your container in case you lose the name of what is inside your container when you're labeling it on the outside. You can purchase plant tags, but you can easily make those on your own. You can use something like a plastic yogurt container and cut it up into plant tags. Some people have even used plastic blinds to make those tags. But you may want to stay away from things like popsicle sticks because those can rot in the soil, and also the labeling can easily fade. Next is scissors. So you will need this to cut open your container. You can use many different things. Scissors is just one. You can use a knife, you can use a box cutter, but use whatever you have on hand and is easiest for you. You will also want to make sure to make holes at the bottom of your container. So you can use your scissors, your box cutter, maybe a screwdriver. Some people have used a hot glue gun, the tip of the hot glue, to burn the holes, or a soldering iron. However, if you're using a hot instrument to melt the plastic, I really suggest that you do it outdoors where you have good ventilation because the fumes are toxic. Next is your seeds. So you obviously want to have seeds to put in your winter sowing containers. So now is a great time to sort through your seeds, see what you have on hand, see what you need to order, start placing those orders now, and get ready and have them ready for when you're going to be doing your winter sowing. So I have a video on what flower seeds are best for winter sowing, and I'll link that video down below. But some of the key terms that you're looking for in your seed packet are things like frost tolerant, perennial, cold hardy, or self-seeding. Those are indicators that those seeds would work very well for winter sowing. For warm weather vegetables and flowers, you can still use the winter sowing method. However, I would wait till early spring and sow those seeds in middle to late March. Next is a spray bottle. While this is not necessary, it can be very useful. So when you're sowing your seeds in your plastic container, you will want to moisten them before closing up your container. Also, if you don't get enough rain or snow, you will want to water your seedlings. And you don't want to use something like a hose, which is going to have too strong of a spray. There are many different types of spray bottles out there that you can use. And I have several different types that I like. One is just the normal garden type of spray bottle, and then there are just your household type spray bottles. The other one that I have is just this little watering nozzle that you attach to a water bottle. So the next thing you want on hand is some sheets or blankets. So this is to protect any seedlings that germinate, and then we get one of those late spring frosts. So it is good to protect them so you don't lose those seedlings. You can use any sheets you have, blankets, towels, or there's also frost blankets that you can purchase online. That's what I usually use, is those frost blankets that you buy online, and I have been able to most of the time successfully protect them from those late frosts that keep happening every spring. And this last item is not something I have used, but I know many have recommended this. And if you have snails or slugs, you might want to just have some mesh produce bags and maybe some coffee filters. To prevent the slug or snail to get in through the opening of your bottle is to cut a piece of that mesh and to attach it to the top of your container. You can attach it with a twist tie or a rubber band. But the small holes of that mesh bag should prevent the snails or the slugs from getting in. For the coffee filters, that is to put in the bottom of your container before you add the soil, so that you are not allowing the holes to be an entryway for those slugs or snails. So there you have it. Let me know in the comments below if you will be doing winter sowing this year, and any other tips or tricks that you can provide that might be useful for others. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.